Okay, let's just get right into it. Right now, as we speak, Iranian hackers are inside the network of a US bank. And believe me, they are not stopping there.
Nope, they're also inside a major American international airport. Look, this isn't some hypothetical scenario. It's happening right now, and it's just one piece of a much larger, mostly invisible conflict.
So let's unpack all of this. What we're really looking at here is a new analysis that sheds light on how Iran is waging the shadow war in cyberspace. It's a digital frontline, running in parallel to the physical conflict we're all seeing in the news. So the group behind this, known as Seedworm, has managed to get a foothold in some really high-value targets. And we're not just talking about the bank and airport. We're also talking about a US software company, one that works with the defense and aerospace industries. You see, this isn't random at all. It's calculated. It's strategic.
So, the big question is, how are they pulling this off? Well, they're installing what's called a backdoor. The best way to think about it is like a secret entrance they build right into a network. It lets them just waltz past all the normal security, the locks, the alarm systems, so they can come and go as they please, totally undetected.
And what's really catching researchers' eyes is that they're using brand new tools to do it. We're talking about two previously unknown backdoors, one called Dindoor and the other Fakeset. Now here's the clever part. One is Deno-based, the other uses Python. By using these modern common programming frameworks, their malicious code basically blends in with all the normal, legitimate traffic on the network. It's like digital camouflage. And the way they're deploying this custom malware across different targets, well, it screams of a well-planned, highly coordinated campaign.
Okay, so this all brings us to the most important question, right? Why now? Why this sudden surge in activity? Well, the answer isn't just in cyberspace. It's in the direct connection between what's happening on the ground and what's happening online. Just look at this timeline. It lays it all out pretty clearly. These cyber intrusions didn't happen in a vacuum. No, they escalated, and I mean dramatically, right as military strikes were launched by the US and Israel, and right as Iran began to physically retaliate. Make no mistake, cyberspace is now an active front in this conflict. And this isn't just us connecting the dots, by the way. The security report itself says, and I'm quoting here, that because of the heated tension in the region, it is likely Iran and its allies may also initiate cyber operations. So there you have it. These digital attacks are a direct extension of the physical war. But it's crucial to understand that a group like Seedworm isn't acting alone. Not at all. They're just one part of a really diverse and complex ecosystem of Iranian-aligned cyber groups, and each one has its own specific mission. Okay, so let's break down the players. You've got your state-sponsored groups like Seedworm, who are the spies. They're all about quiet espionage and intelligence gathering. Then you have the destructive groups. Their only goal, wiping data, causing chaos, sending a very loud political message. And finally, you've got the hacktivists. These are the public-facing groups. They want to create fear using things like DDoS attacks, that's flooding a server to knock it offline, and doxing, which is leaking private info to intimidate people. Let's dig into a couple of these. First up, a group like Handala. These guys are classic hacktivists. Think of them as the public face of the cyber conflict. Their entire game is psychological operations, creating panic, sowing distrust. They'll steal data, dump it on their leak site, and then go on social media making loud, sometimes even exaggerated claims to get the biggest psychological bang for their buck. Okay, now let's shift gears to a much, much more dangerous actor, Druidfly. These are the destroyers. They use something called wiper malware. And get this, it doesn't steal your data. It permanently erases it. Gone forever. And to make things even more confusing, they often pose as hacktivists, but their real mission is just pure digital destruction. We've seen them do this in major attacks against countries like Albania and against targets in Israel. All right, so knowing all this, knowing who the players are and what they can do, how do we prepare for what's coming next? The whole focus has to shift, right? Away from just reacting and towards anticipating their moves and building much stronger defenses. And this chart gives us a pretty good idea of what defenders should be bracing for. Yeah, a big chunk is the noisy stuff. Denial of service attacks, website defacements, the things designed to get headlines. But look closer. Notice the more sinister threats lurking underneath. A huge part of their playbook is dedicated to credential theft, stealing usernames and passwords to get in, and those outright destructive attacks we just talked about. So let's get practical. How do you actually stop those credential attacks? Well, the good news is the steps are pretty clear. Step 1, and this is totally non-negotiable, is multi-factor authentication, or MFA. That's your first line of defense. From there, it's about basic hygiene, closing old, forgotten backdoors by getting rid of legacy protocols, and, of course, actively hunting for any weird or suspicious login patterns. Okay, and what about the scariest scenario? How do you survive a destructive attack from a group like Druidfly? The key here is you can't just defend, you have to be resilient. It's like being a boxer, you have to be able to take a punch. This means isolating your backups so attackers can't reach them, making those backups unchangeable or immutable, and constantly testing your disaster recovery plan. It's all about making sure you can get back up after you've been knocked flat.
And all of this leaves us with one final and really critical question. The lines between physical and digital are blurring fast. We've just seen how a digital foothold can be set up before the first missile is even launched. In this new era of hybrid warfare, the digital battlefield isn't some separate front anymore. It's everywhere. And that shift has some really profound implications. It's forcing everyone, militaries, governments, to completely rethink what the first act of war even looks like. Because it's no longer just about tanks and planes. It's about keyboards and code.